Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm so excited to be here with our coach, Ruth. Ruth, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Kohila. I'm excited to talk about this topic that we have.
Yes, it's one of the things we've been told many times that, you better get some discipline in your life. You
Yes,
better learn
absolutely.
discipline,
It's like,
right?
what?
We've all been told, or
Yeah,
we told others maybe sometimes too. We probably are guilty of that, right? Yes.
exactly. Yes.
Yes. So let's bring ourselves here and now. And what about you today? Did you think about the past? How did your past look today?
For maybe 30 seconds, because you've taught us. We've learned that here's the past, here's the present,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And we bring it here, we're in the now.
Yes.
So that's how I physically do it for myself, and it does bring me
Mm.
right here.
Hmm.
Yes.
So I was thinking a little bit of the past. Sometimes closer to the full moon, people
Oh,
always go through dip in emotions and think
hmm,
about stuff in the past, right? It as you said, it's not a crime to think about it, but how long do we spend there?
correct. Correct.
It's a big question is how long do we spend there, right? If we're spending
Correct.
too much time, then we have a problem.
Correct. Yes,
Yes.
yes. And if we sit too long, then that becomes our thinking, and we it's harder to move forward and get into the present and what's in front of us.
Yes. So just looking at one of our stream has stopped, which is
Uh-oh.
LinkedIn. I'm not sure why, but it just showed me a button saying that it stopped playing. So we might have to
Oh,
post this. If you're watching from LinkedIn,
yeah.
we'll post it again. But
Yes.
okay, so yeah, how long am I spending in the past? If I'm spending so much time in the past, or if Ruth is, then we're really not here and now. So if we're not here and now, then we're not going to get anything done, right? So it's sort
Correct.
of a waste of time. So what can we do with the past? Just take all the lessons, as many lessons as possible, and really let it go.
Yep.
Just let it go because yeah, just blow it away. Let it go,
Let
so
it
that
go.
it's not keeping you stuck, because
Mm-mm.
that's when it's bad, when it keeps you stuck. Now, how about the future? Have you thought about the future? I've been thinking a lot today about the future, I have to say.
I have too. I've been thinking a lot. I've had some changes, and I've been thinking a lot about the future, and I bless that. And then
Yes.
I have to, because the future's not here.
No.
It's not here. We can think about it, and we can kind of guess what might happen. But
Yes.
so when I'm thinking about the future, I just bless it.
Hmm.
So that's what I do. So I
And
have my
then we
hand,
just bless it and release it, right? It's
release it.
available to us.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we just have to release it. And
Yep.
again, I was thinking of the future because we have so many schools now reaching out to us wanting to be partnership with our program.
Yes.
So I was
Yes.
just thinking of the future, how fast the 1.5 billion
Yes.
humans is coming closer and closer every time I hear these emails, or if I hear voicemail or something,
Yep.
or text message, I just get excited how close. So that type of thinking is beautiful because we have an
Yes.
intention.
Right.
We have an intention. I'm thinking
Yep.
about that intention. I'm seeing
Yep.
some stuff happening towards that intention. That's good future thinking. But if I was to project my past and think of the future, then that is again waste of time. So
Correct.
if you're wasting your time in the future, then you're not here and now, because
Here. Yep.
we can only spend one of these places, right? We can be, I wish we can be in all three places at the same time. And
Right. I know.
unfortunately, that's not a power we have yet.
No.
Yet.
Yes.
Not yet. We might, who knows, right? In the future. So that's why we want to bring ourselves now and here. So what else do you do to bring yourself now and here, Ruth? Is there something that you do special to really ground yourself?
I do. I physically need this, you guys. I physically
Yeah,
need
yeah.
past, and then I'm bringing it, and then breathing. Breathing is
Yes.
huge for me, and I never really. It's not that I didn't believe in breathing, but oh, it's that new age kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And when I started doing it, and, I can do it anywhere whenever I'm stressing or my brain is rolling. If you guys, the brain ever keeps rolling, rolling, rolling,
Yeah.
it brings me down. It brings me back to the present. It's so helpful. So
Yes.
helpful.
Is there one that you like more than the others?
I tend to, what I do is I breathe in for 4, I'll hold for 4, and then I breathe out for 8, but I'm like, I really let it go.
Yeah.
And then hold for 4. And that's a pattern I'll do maybe 3. If I need to do it more, I will do it more.
Sometimes we need five, but can we do that three times?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, let's.
Now,
Do you want to
so,
lead us?
sure. And anybody out there, you can either do it with your eyes open or eyes closed. I close my eyes so I can just kind of take in that breath. So let's breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and release for 8. And I want you guys to hear yourself. Hold for 4, breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out to 8. Big noises. Hold for 4, breathe in for 4, hold for 4. Last one, breathe out for 8. Do you
Really
guys
like the
feel your
sound.
shoulders? Everything's
Yeah,
down.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I
Yeah.
just felt. I've been
Mm-hmm.
holding it like this. I think I've been filming this morning, and my shoulders must have been like this or something, because I just felt drop. It hurts when it drops, but
Well,
yes,
sure.
yes, yeah.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
we don't realize how much we do this motion. Every
Right.
one
And
of us do it.
we hold stress. We hold whatever's going on in
Mhm.
our day. So breathe.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also the computer, right? Work if you're working on
Yes.
a lot on the computers or phone, then
Yes.
this motion is the motion everybody's doing. So that's also helps to breathe and expand your shoulders out. But one thing that I wanted to remind everybody is that it doesn't matter of the count. Like I think I
No.
messed up in between. It's not about am I
No.
doing it perfectly?
No.
Breathing is never like that, right? It just
No.
go with the flow.
Right. Just
Go with the
whatever's
flow.
comfortable for you. And there's other breathing patterns out there. Whatever breathing pattern, whatever brings you back down, and when you can start feel that release, that's all you need to do.
Yes. So today we're going to talk about our favorite word. One of our favorite word in our society is discipline. Everybody
Ooh.
needs to be disciplined. We have to develop discipline, right? So let's talk about discipline. So most people think their problem is I'm not disciplined enough, right? Have you ever thought about it like that, Ruth? Like I'm not disciplined yet enough.
Oh, absolutely. Like if I just did this more, if I just stuck to the plan, if I just, and
Yes.
that's a disciplined mindset, and it, it doesn't work. At least for me,
Yeah.
it does
Yeah.
not work for
No, it
me.
didn't work me either. And how many times we said things like I can't stay consistent. I start something, but I don't finish. I
Correct.
know what I need to do, but I don't do it.
Correct.
Anybody can relate to these?
I'm
I
sure
mean,
everybody
if
out there,
I hear,
yes.
yeah, if I
Hmm.
hear this, or if I'm saying this to myself, obviously I don't have discipline enough, right?
Right,
I'm not
right.
disciplined enough to do I'm not finishing what I start. I'm not being consistent, and I'm also don't want to do what I need to do. So all of that points to I'm a very not disciplined person.
Correct. Correct.
Yes. So how did you learn to become disciplined? Like was there some lesson in the school they provided you? Here's how we do discipline. You do step one, two, three, like and you are not disciplined. Is that something like that? Like did you get anything like that? I didn't. But
I did. When I went to school, and even when my kids were in school, even now with my grandchildren, so to speak, that discipline is okay. You sit in class. All right, now we're going to do 10 minutes of this. All right, you finish that, then you're going to do 10 minutes of that, and then you're going to move
yes.
on. And though, and those kids, when you do, and if you don't do that, then you're not disciplined. We're gonna teach you how to be disciplined, right? I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. But what happens is then how many of us out there have seen kids that are like, or myself, I would stare ahead because I'm like, for some reason that blocked me, that I was frozen. I'm like, okay, because it was that for me, discipline was an expectation of being perfect. That was the message I received as a
Well,
student.
that's how they showed us what discipline was. If I
Right.
didn't do something, they said I wasn't disciplined. But never anyone took the time to teach me how to. be disciplined, or how do I turn into a disciplined person? Like, what state do I have to be? Like, nobody told me
Correct.
anything about it. Did they tell you? No.
Oh
It was
no,
just
that's
coming
no.
through expectations that when I
Yep.
didn't do something, they said, oh, you don't have
Right.
discipline.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I
Why aren't
guess
you
I don't.
disciplined enough? Why can't you do this? Why can't you just? Why can't you? And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. If I knew, then
I would.
I would be disciplined, right?
Yes. So don't you think that our society, a lot of the time, the advice or the education comes as the word itself is a result. Discipline is a result of something else and something else. So if
Correct.
somebody says, why aren't you disciplined? I would think, as a young person, I would think, oh, I have to start from discipline. I wouldn't think of it as the end result.
No, no.
I
I
want to start
and
with discipline, and I don't know how.
I don't know how. And then kids think that they're not behaving. They're bad kids. I'm not up to standards, or I'm not. They don't know those words, but they feel less than, because
Yes.
they're like, okay, well, the teacher's praising little Johnny, so to speak. He's disciplined. Ruth Ann, why can't you be disciplined? And you're like, I don't know what Johnny's doing to be disciplined, right?
Discipline. Yes.
So
Share his
it's
secret with me, then I will also be
right. You look and you're like, okay. So it's very confusing. And what I've learned over the years is that our education system was built for the Industrial Revolution, or during the
yes.
Industrial Revolution.
Yes.
So of course they wanted disciplined students, because they were going out into the workforce, into the factories, into the businesses. They wanted those disciplined factory workers. So it was
Yes.
like you do
And
the
what
same
happens?
thing. Yeah.
Right? What happens when we feel like in the old world, like when we're going to talk about how we see this differently, but
Yep.
we're talking about the old way of looking at this. What happens? What happened to you when somebody said you're not disciplined? But what did you start doing?
Me as a student, I shut down. And
Mm.
they used to say I'm procrastinating. I
Yes.
didn't know how to move forward. I might not have understood an assignment. I didn't know
Mm.
what they wanted within the project. I might have needed more information. I'm a very visual learner.
Mm.
And back then, there wasn't a lot of that going on, at least in my experience.
Did you
So,
use willpower? Like, did they tell you use your willpower to get disciplined?
oh, well, if you just did it, just do it. And again, it's that, well, willpower. And as an adult, though, that comes out. If you just had willpower, you could stop
I'm
this.
like,
If you
what is
just had
that?
willpower,
How does that look like? I mean,
it
like, what
doesn't
is it?
work.
And where do I find this stuff? Like, do I buy it at
Yeah,
store? Like, how do I get
right.
willpower? Like,
Right. If you had willpower, you wouldn't eat so much. Okay, is that bottled? Can I take that in a drink, or can I get it solid? So, how many of us, and we've all heard it. If you
yes,
had willpower, you would have discipline, and then you
yeah,
would be this type of way.
the person, yeah. And then we try harder and we push harder, thinking that willpower somehow is going to show
Correct.
up to me too. Like, because obviously everybody's saying that I should have
Sure.
willpower, so I must
Right.
have it somewhere in this body. So I must push it
Right.
out by doing
Right.
more and push.
Yeah.
So it doesn't happen that way. Again, willpower is another word that we use, which is a
Correct.
result of something, 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 and we don't know what those somethings are, and we just think it's magic. It's gonna come to
Right.
me.
Like if we just say, okay, I can do it, poof, and then you're still, as a child, young
Well,
adult, or even college student, or even in a workforce, you're like, I,
yes.
I don't know, I'm trying. I don't have, and when we say we don't have the willpower then, or we're not disciplined enough, then where do
Oh,
we go?
I
Right?
know. Right. People look at you like, okay, we don't know what to do with you because obviously you don't have
Right.
very two important things that needed to be
Right.
successful, right? So
Correct.
let's talk about how you build discipline. Like, okay, now we know that we both didn't get education. I'm sure a lot of people will agree with us. There's no education on willpower or how to become disciplined. We are told to be those things, right? We are told as if we know
Correct.
how to get there. I never knew it. So I usually thought discipline was, I have to watch the most other people who are being called disciplined. Like I was looking for a role model.
Correct. Yep.
So then I
Yep.
could mimic what they're doing and then I would get disciplined because obviously they're being called disciplined and they have
Right.
willpower. So if I just follow what they do, then I'll also be disciplined, right?
Right, exactly. And it was that comparison. So then, for me as a student, then I was starting to compare myself to other kids, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. And then it was for me. It was then it became a self-esteem issue. I felt less than. I didn't feel smart enough, even though I was. I didn't feel that. I didn't realize that till much later in life
Yes.
because I
Yes.
wasn't disciplined. So there was something wrong with me, right?
Yes.
If it's a negative, and not that discipline's a bad thing done in the correct way, so to speak, but when we say to these kids, then they internalize it, and that's something we carry on through our adult life.
Yeah. Yeah, we blame ourselves because look,
Yes.
I can't do it. So
Yeah.
for me, you can think of an example as me. For me, it was that everybody would say like, you have to go to bed at this time if you're disciplined. Like you always have to follow through and
Hmm.
go to bed at this time. And then I would get up. Like I now have a discipline, different type of discipline. I'll share that later. Like my new personality has this
Hmm.
discipline. I would never advise on that. But you know how people who write books or other things would always say, you have to get up at 5 a.m. if you're going to be successful. And you have at, I mean, at 6 o'clock, you have to go to the gym if you're going to be successful,
Correct. Yeah.
right? At 6 a.m.
Yep.
You have to go to
Yep.
the gym if you're going to be successful. That's discipline. None of these things I could do it when I was younger and going through so much things in my life. I couldn't do any of that stuff.
Right.
So I used to think, okay, if I can do two things that are most important to be disciplined, I've already screwed up the morning. I'm not, I mean, by morning, I'm already undisciplined. Out of control.
So whatever.
Right?
Right.
But
Right.
I mean, then the rest of the day, why am I going to bother? Because I'm not even following two things that they're saying a disciplined person should do is get up early, go to the gym. I can never do that.
Right.
Now I can. Now I can. But
Correct.
in
Right.
those days, I couldn't. So, discipline is preached or told to others as a certain formula, and this is the formula that gets you there. Did you have
Correct.
any formulas that you followed or tried to follow?
Tried to follow. Some of it would be, coming home from school, getting a snack, and jumping right into homework. Trying to do that, and then, or cleaning our room, or is that constant movement. And a lot of times, I would just pretend that it was finished, kind of thing, and it just didn't get done because I was like, again, I didn't know what I was feeling. I just couldn't push forward, and I didn't understand why. Like, why can't I just sit down and do what everybody's telling me to do?
Yes. Yes. Because you weren't disciplined.
I wasn't
Ruth.
disciplined. And if I did that every day, I would be disciplined, and then my parents wouldn't have to be writing. That it was that same pattern, right? Yes.
Yes. So what we're trying to get to is, those of you who are listening, is that discipline is not the starting point, right? It is a byproduct of so many different things that I need to be internally in alignment so that I can get to a place of discipline,
Right.
not the starting point. I can't start from discipline and
No.
make
No.
my way to discipline. Discipline comes as a result of so many different things. So,
Right.
can you share with me an experience where you were able to become disciplined like that as a byproduct, not the starting? Because we all tried when we were younger to start from discipline and failed miserably, right?
Right. And to be honest, I'd have to say it probably started. I'm starting it with my grandchildren because I'm learning new tools. I'm learning
Yes.
some things that we didn't have when I was a kid. I probably, for myself personally, I probably didn't become disciplined until in my adult life, later on in my adult life, when I started understanding my systems, right? Um, Even let's say cleaning the house or cooking dinner or going to work or whatever it may be, um, that I'm disciplined now because I understand how my systems work. But as a student, I did very well in spite of my lack of discipline, so to speak. I mean, I graduated with honors from high school. I went on to university, but I never felt like I had the discipline. I would skip
Yes.
school. My senior year in high school, you don't want to hear this, parents, but I had such good grades. I skipped almost the last half of my senior year and I still graduated with honors because I didn't feel worthy, because I didn't feel I was disciplined enough to get those grades. I don't know if that's making sense, but that's how I was feeling as a kid, as a
Yes.
senior.
Yeah, it's how you felt. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
okay. We
Yep.
feel differently, and what other people are gonna think, that's fine, right? So for me, the discipline, like right now, I know that at the time when I was trying to be disciplined, like waking up
Hmm.
at 5 a.m., going to the gym and starting my so I'm healthier, I'm eating good, and all of that stuff, it didn't work for me because I've always thought that was the starting point, the discipline was the starting point. But what I didn't realize is that it wasn't that I was inconsistent. It was I was dysregulated. My systems, my internal
Hmm.
systems were not regulated and in an alignment. So whenever I set those goals to become disciplined, they would fall apart.
Right. Right.
So then when they fall apart, I would call myself, you know what, you're not disciplined enough to even try this, just quit.
Right. Like, why
Like,
bother? Yeah.
why bother, right? Because you're not
Hmm.
going to keep up with it. It's only 2 3 days and it's over, right? But now it's not like that. It's so easy to get up at 6, and I have a routine where I get up at 3 a.m. every
Hmm.
morning. And nobody, I never put an alarm. If I sleep, I
Mm-mm.
sleep, but if I wake up,
Right.
majority of the nights I'm waking up. So would I say then now to everyone else, discipline is waking up at 3 a.m.?
No.
I don't think so.
Yes and no, but you're regulated.
I'm regulated, so I'm doing it, but it works for me.
Right.
Would I say that
Right.
to somebody else right now? That's how you become disciplined, by waking up at 3 a.m.? No, it just works
No.
for me. It works for
Correct.
my system and how I function. It might not work for Ruth. Ruth might have to wake up at 6 a.m. I wake up at 3 a.m. Whatever is her time, whatever your time is, right?
Right. Right.
So what I'm trying to get at is like sometimes when we are giving our perspective or our ideas, we try to say that if it works for me, this is how it works. We forget that every person is different. It works for me. We have to
Right.
figure out what works for you. That's the
Correct.
better. That's the better way, right?
100%. Yes. Yes. 100%. And the same with the kids. All of they're different. Their systems are different. They learn differently. So to say to kids in a classroom, we all need to be disciplined, 30 kids or whatever in a classroom. Well, they're all different. So they're not going to be disciplined because they're different. Their systems are at different points during the day.
Yes. So what shifted for me is readiness OS, right? It's the
Mm-hmm.
lens of the readiness OS. I stopped asking myself, am I not? Why am I not disciplined? I stopped asking myself, why am I not disciplined?
Mm-hmm.
And I started asking, is my system ready to follow through? Because if you think about it, at the end of every discipline conversation, what was the one thing that was missing? Consistency to follow through, right?
Yep. Right.
So that's how discipline fell apart.
Yep.
Because if
100.
we don't
Yes.
follow through,
Yep.
discipline goes out the door. So
Yep.
when your system is regulated, you have the capacity to follow through.
Correct. Yes.
Right. We all have the
100%.
capacity
Yes.
to follow through. And
Yes.
then when we follow through, what happens is somebody watching us is going to go, oh, that person's so disciplined.
Right. Right. And they don't understand yet, where that's what we're here for, is to kind of explain to people that once your system's regulated, and it could be 3 in the morning, it could be 6 in the morning, it could be 9 o'clock at night. Maybe your system's regulated 9 o'clock at night and you're the most productive in what you're doing because you're regulated for whatever reason. But it's different for everybody.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we cannot ask if discipline, like how do I get to discipline, don't ask that question. So if you're
No.
still asking that question, here's the shift. Don't ask why am I not disciplined. Ask,
Right.
is my system ready to follow through? And if there's no
Right.
follow through, then we can look into different aspects of it. Why you don't want to follow through? Why don't I want to follow through, right? Because you know
Right.
what, when couldn't follow through on my exercise thing at 6 a.m, because I had poor self-image and self-love towards myself
Mm-hmm.
at that time.
Correct.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I was telling myself I'm gonna go work out, but internally I didn't love myself like I do now.
Right.
So
Yes.
there's a difference, right? There's a
Yep.
difference where it's coming from. So that's why the system, we have to look at the system inside, the systems
Correct.
inside, and see, are they in alignment and are they activated? So then now 6 a.m. I go to boxing, believe it or not. 4 times a day, I'm 4 times a week I'm going boxing.
That's awesome. That's
If
amazing.
you asked me years ago, can you do that at 6 a.m.? I'm like, no. And boxing, oh, forget it. I might maybe go on a treadmill for a little bit or something, but
Right.
boxing, no way. No, 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 no,
Right.
no. That doesn't happen.
Right.
Right? But
Right.
now it feels right because I love myself. I want to look certain way. I love myself. I want to have strength. I
Hmm.
want to have the ability to have the confidence and then correct posture. So there was so many things that made sense for me to get up and
Hmm.
go.
Right. Right.
So discipline just automatically shows up. Now, as if somebody looks at me and they'll be like, "Oh, she gets up at 3 a.m. and she's working out by 6 a.m. and she's then at work by 12 p.m. Like, look at her
Hmm.
discipline." It's just what
Right.
will they would say. But I never started with the discipline to
Mhm.
design all of that. I started with
Right.
my internal systems and where they are. How about yourself? Do you have any examples like that where, since the readiness OS, you have reframed it?
Oh, there's so many areas in my life, but the first one I'd have to say is eating better, because
Mm,
I, like you said, I have that self confidence. I feel good about who I am. I don't have to diet. I don't have to do these things. I do it because I want to, and because I feel good. But I'm not. So I guess you could say habits, just whatever. But I've tried so many diets over the years. Weight Watchers. I'm not knocking these programs. Just let me make it really clear. But these are programs I've tried over the years, and they work. They work, and then it's like, because inside I wasn't feeling good about myself or who Ruth was. I was judging myself by other people. Um, so now I do that. I do like to walk. Do I walk at 6 in the morning? No, but I walk in the afternoon with our Bernese mountain dog. That works for me. And we've done that every day. It's like from like 4:30 to whatever. It could be 5 to 6, whatever it is, because then I'm ready and we go for a walk. It's not because someone says this is what you need to do. It's because I'm feeling good at myself and I enjoy it. It's not something that I feel I have to do to get approval, if that makes sense, right? Because a lot of times you go on these diets, or the exercise, it's like, oh, because I want to be like XYZ over here, and I want to show everybody I can do. I'm as good as they are. I do it for me, not based on what other people think or their opinion of me. And that's a hard thing to learn, but it's something that I've worked
yes.
really hard at.
Yes. So, do you think when your system is dysregulated, you can produce consistent action?
Oh no, I know myself. No, and I didn't understand. I wasn't regulated what procrastination. I was the best procrastinator on the earth, and I would drive my parents crazy. In high school, even in college, university, I would wait to the last minute, and then I'd be stressing out, and I'd be up all night blah, 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 doing it. I would get a good mark or good grade, but it was that constant turmoil because procrastination. I realized I thought I wasn't disciplined because that's what they tell you. I wasn't
Yes.
regulated.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
that's a
and
good example.
procrastination. Yeah,
Yes.
procrastination is a
Hmm.
beautiful way of, when you know you're not disciplined, that's a great way to spend some time.
Right. It's okay. Well, and that becomes a title. And then the title is, well, I'm a procrastinator, therefore I'm not disciplined. And if I do, then it's that again. And it's like, no, 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 no. I learned that procrastination is I'm not regulated. I need to sit back, look at what's blocking me at this point in time. The Readiness OS system is amazing. It helps kids, teenagers, adults, grandparents. It can help everybody because it's something that we weren't taught,
Yep.
and
And
it's
it
so
flips the
freeing.
narrative, right? It flips
Correct.
everything too because
The narrative changes. Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the new way, we don't force discipline, we restore readiness, right?
Right.
We're going to
Yes.
restore readiness. So
Yes.
what does that look like? It looks like regulating before expecting output. So making sure that all the systems are regulated in alignment before expecting an output, because discipline is an output. right? So we were asking for an output without having proper internal state.
Correct. Yes.
And then clearing internal resistance before adding structure. So we like to add structures externally, but if there's a resistance inside, what's the point of the structure outside? We're not going to have
None.
out to utilize the structure outside. So internally, we need to make sure there's no resistance, it's in flow. We have to make sure this person, this body, this biological being is in flow. And a lot of the time,
Correct.
we don't even pay attention to that. We just say, let's become disciplined. It doesn't work.
Right.
And then aligning environment before increasing demand. Not only do we need to align ourselves, but also the environment has to also support that, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And we were never taught or given those options growing up
No,
in the system.
you're just gonna post to get disciplined.
Yep.
Just
Just
have
keep
to show
going, keep
up
going, keep going. Yep.
disciplined.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So when
come home to a house full of chaos, come home to, if you have siblings or whatever, it's like, blah, 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 and then you're all expected to sit down and do homework and do, the environment wasn't conducive to regulating our bodies in order for us to sit down and maybe do homework or maybe just have a conversation, because the environment was so chaotic. It's not good or bad. It's just what it was. And we didn't have the tools understanding it to regulate ourselves or others.
Yes. And the sad part is that it's so easy for us to learn this because we are a living being. We have all these systems, we know all these systems, but we just don't pay attention to them as if they have anything to do with our readiness, our state to do things, including discipline, right? We don't think of it. The internal state has lots to do with what we're going to output.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, there's a huge gap that they don't get associated with it. It's like this body just functions on its own. It doesn't.
No.
It needs to be taken care of. It needs to be
Correct.
taken care of, right?
Right.
So,
Correct. Yeah.
so
It's like your body can't go without water. Your body can't go without food. And it's the same thing with our systems as far as learning and growing and discipline. We need to take care of the internal before the external, quote, the end result. Discipline happens.
yeah, it comes as a naturally out.
Mm-hmm.
It's an outcome, so it's going to come really naturally when we don't force it, and when we get our systems ready, it's going to show up naturally.
Correct.
And then you might be thinking, so how is that some kids or some people are always told they're so disciplined, and others, guess what did they do? They actually restored their readiness. They actually worked with their systems to make sure the systems are in alignment. They did. Otherwise, they can't do what they're saying.
Correct.
But they might not be aware of it. They might not be aware of it. They probably thought, just like in personal development, right? Always people say, use this hack, use this strategy, everything is going to work. So they probably thought I used some hacks or something to discipline myself, but they didn't. They actually made an alignment with all their systems so that it can be activated into becoming disciplined. So it is always the end result. It's always the end result. So important.
And I noticed that the most when I was doing some side businesses, the MLM industry. Again, I'm not knocking the industry, but they tend to tell you the same thing. And then some people, a lot of us, there's maybe 1 or 2% really make that big jump, whatever. And some of us have been talking since we've started this Readiness OS. And now we understand why ourselves or our team, so to speak, our small teams didn't grow, because we were told, do this, do this, do this, do this. And if you don't do that, then you're not disciplined. And if you're not consistent, then you're not going to make money, that kind of stuff. Well, no wonder a lot of people don't succeed in that area, because our systems weren't regulated. We weren't figuring out what's blocking us. We weren't figuring out, do we need water? Do we need food? Do we need exercise? We couldn't figure out who we were. So when you use that, those same terms in different areas, you can just look around and go, oh, I didn't fail at that because I wasn't disciplined. I failed at that or didn't produce very well because my system was like, I didn't know where it was. It was blocked. It was frozen. It was whatever. And now using that, I can see people are much more successful in whatever they do when they understand that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's what happens when discipline becomes a byproduct of all this work. It shows up naturally, and when
Mhm.
it does show up naturally, your follow through is going to be so much easier. You don't need force to follow through on things. And this goes to our students and your kids
Mhm.
as well.
Right.
When the discipline shows naturally by alignment of all the systems, it's going to be without force. They'll follow through, they'll get things done, and they'll
Right.
stay consistent. You don't need
Yep.
to remind anybody, and you don't
Mm.
also need to burn out because of the consistency, because your
Right.
systems are in alignment to take care of it in a constant state. And then you move, you're not dragging yourself, so you
Right.
really have momentum in your life too, right? When discipline
Yeah.
becomes a natural byproduct, you're going to have momentum in your life without dragging yourself around.
Right. Right. And to look at for myself, I look at my
We're
energy.
coming back on. Just the internet story. Yep.
Yep. So
Go
for
ahead.
me, if I can feel myself like not being productive or whatever, I go, okay, what's my energy level? Am I in a safe area? And I don't mean safety as far as being harmed, but a safe place where it might be quiet or there might be soft music. Um, I have to look at those things even for myself. If I'm trying to do something, am I in safety or survival mode? Am I like, okay, I have to get this done, or otherwise, well, then my body's not regulated and I'm not going to be productive, so to speak, because I'm in survival mode instead of safety mode.
Yes. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're
Mm-hmm.
struggling with discipline,
Mm-hmm.
it may not be what you think. It may not be laziness, it may not be lack of motivation, it may not be that you need to try harder.
Mm-mm.
We don't
No.
we ended that two words, right? Those two
Yes.
words, try harder, last
Yep.
last last month. So you may be trying to force performance on a system that isn't ready, right?
Right.
That's what's happening. So
Right.
at this moment, you have a beautiful tool that we were all given at our birth, which is our breath. You can
Yep.
really breathe. You can really breathe. That discipline is not something you start with, is something
Mm-hmm.
that becomes a byproduct of your alignment of your system. So let's breathe and get that alignment back first. Let's have
Right.
the breathing help you to get
Right.
into the alignment. From there you can then get to discipline, right? So, and
Correct.
when you
Yes.
restore readiness, after that, breathe to make sure coming back to here and now, and then restore readiness. Discipline stops being the fight, it becomes the result. So, we're right now
Right.
hearing all the personal development influencers, gurus out there, all the stuff we hear is this is how discipline is. This is how you got to get to discipline. Here's the formula for discipline.
Right. Right. It's
Um,
not a quick. It's not a quick fix. It's
yeah, but
something that
it's not going to work.
and you have to work it right. You have to do the flow. You have your internal systems have to be ready. It has
Yeah.
to be natural. It can't be something, okay, if you do this mantras aren't bad. Again, I'm not knocking mantras. I have some of my own too that I like, but just doing a mantra every day is not going to get you into flow. It's not going to get your mind, body, and soul ready for what you want to do for the day, so to speak. Right? It's gonna, again, if all of a sudden, if you do it the gurus tell you to do, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I must not be disciplined. I must be a
Yeah.
failure because they're saying it works and it's not
Yeah. Just
working
work on
for
me.
me.
Yeah.
Right.
And it takes a while to figure that out. You don't know at the
Oh,
beginning. You think it's going to work, and you go in, I'm going to be the most disciplined person in 2 days because I'm following the best person here who's telling me that this is the way to do it. I'm
right.
doing it. And 2 days goes back, and I feel no discipline. Like I feel less and less. And, and
Yes.
that was my life. All my life, I used to
Mm-hmm.
think that there's something wrong with me. But now looking back at it, I realized that there was nothing wrong with me. I was just asking lots of smart questions, right? And there was no answer, so I thought I must be asking stupid questions because there's no answer.
Mm-hmm.
But now I realize how smart my questions were, how intelligent my questions were, because I would ask, like people would say, "Okay, we need you to be more disciplined. We need you to be more motivated. We need you to be this." I'm like, I don't know how people are doing it. I have no idea how to get there. If somebody would tell me how the formula works, I could just make it get there. Like, I couldn't. I was so
Right.
disappointed. to live a life where I felt like I was the one who couldn't get to these
Right.
things
Right.
people mention as casual as, yeah, just
Right.
discipline.
And to tell you're not motivated enough. Now here, and this you're not motivated enough when you have that finger. How do you feel? I mean, even through the screen, those of you watching, how do you feel? I say, you're not motivated enough. You kind of go, oh, well, I,
Either you can shut down or you can fight back. Some people
right.
might fight back
And
and
it's,
say, "What do you
yep,
mean?"
it's
I,
fight
I,
or flight. Exactly. And it's our internal. We have to take care of our internal before we can do the outside. It's all internal stuff. Yeah.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. So when this happens, it becomes a byproduct. So it's not that you're lazy or lack motivation or you need to try
Mm-mm.
harder. It's
No.
just that your system isn't ready. So you're trying to force performance. So here's our real request for you is to breathe,
Mm-hmm.
really find that where the alignment is missing
Yep.
and where your systems are not ready,
Yep.
and then discipline stops being a fight, it becomes a result. So you don't want to fight to get to discipline.
No.
It's not a race to get to
Mm-mm.
discipline or a fight to get to discipline. It's a result of all of the stuff you do.
Right.
So anything else you want to add to the discipline conversation today, Ruth?
I want parents, educators, whoever's out there watching today, that with the Readiness OS system, the results are going to be amazing because first of all, you're dealing with, um, you're helping work with a system, not against it, which means our
Yes.
internal system, right? So
Yes.
we're working within that instead of against it. The old way, a good example, I hear parents all the time complaining, like, we come home and I'm nagging at my kids to do homework and they just won't do it. They just won't do it. They just won't do it. Okay, so there's ways that we can help parents to look at things, do
Yes.
the breathing first. When I was growing up, you didn't go outside to play after school until you did your homework.
Yes. Well,
What
we
if
were
you
disciplined.
reverse that? You say, okay, they've been locked in school all day. Their systems are, they've been in these classrooms. They're sitting, any of us adults that would sit for 8 hours today in a class. Think about it. We would lose our minds. Just saying. So
Yes.
maybe the systems for that child, let them go out and play for an hour. The homework's still going to be there. Then they're going to be regulated. They're going to be outside, fresh air. Then you can sit down calmly and say, okay, what have you got going today? That kind of thing. We help you do that. And again, it's not judgment. It's just we're learning how Readiness OS helps kids and families. Wouldn't it be nice if you didn't have to be fighting about homework every night or bedtime or shutting the TV off? There's a multitude of things that because we're busy, it is a different era, right? Both parents are working, we're running. But what if we gave you some simple tools and worked with you to bring that regulation, to bring kind of some of that calmness into your home? That's what we do. And that's what's so exciting because I've seen it with my own grandchildren. It's amazing. And I know I shouldn't be amazed because I understand it, but I still, when I see the difference from my grandchildren, and I did it, it was generational. I did what I was taught with my kids, and to see the difference is amazing. And the results they are disciplined. They know that they will do their things when their systems are ready. We don't wait till midnight, but we have kind of a routine or questions we ask or breathing or conversation, whatever works for us, because now their bodies are ready. It's that Readiness OS. It's our operating system. Yes.
Yes. So if you're trying to still push for discipline, change your lens. Look at it from the perspective of, is this system ready? If it's not ready, then it starts in here. If it's ready, then we can look at the discipline part. When it's not ready, discipline is not going to show up. It's a survival mode, and
Right.
usually it just wants to stay. The discipline is not going to show up because it is a
Mm-mm.
byproduct of the internal work we need to do. So if you're interested in doing any of your inner work and reaching out to a coach, Coach Ruth has programs as well as she helps parents as well. So reach out to her. She's on all social media as well. So reach out to her and see what she has to offer in terms of how to become more disciplined.
Yeah. You're not alone. You're not alone. We do this journey together. That's what's amazing about Readiness OS. Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So be disciplined and be blessed. Until next
Yes.
time, right? Until next time, don't think of discipline as your starting point. Think of it
No.
as your byproduct. That's the
Yes.
advice.
Yes.
That is the insight that we can share, not advice, insight that we can
And so,
share
yep.
with you because everything has shifted for me since I started using that lens.
Yes. It's fun. It's freeing. It's parents and teachers and it's freeing. It's very freeing. And it's work, but it's not, how do I say it? It's work, but it's not hard. I don't know. You
Yes.
just it's going to be just reach out to us if you want a little bit more information on what Readiness OS is. You're going to be amazed at how this could work in your schools, your classroom, your home. It's time. It's time to help, and it will help teachers. I mean, bless your hearts. And so that Readiness OS isn't just for students, but it's to help you teachers as well. You have a tough job right now, and wow, wouldn't it be nice to be able to just kind of be like, to bring a classroom down with some of these tools? Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you for
You're
being
welcome. Thank
here
you
today.
for having me.
Yeah, we'll talk on another live. Thank you, everyone.
Yes.